All right, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well, and we all understand we are here for this joint meeting between the Board of County Commissioners and the Board of Education. And as we do on our board, before I turn it over to the chair of the school board, I'd like to open us up with reminding everyone of the mission and the vision for Mecklenburg County, which typically we use to guide our conversations. And so our vision is to be the best local government service provider, and our mission is to serve Mecklenburg County residents by helping improve their lives and community. And so we like to level set with that as we start our meetings, and also we keep in mind our board priorities as well. And with that being said, I do want to turn it over to Chair Sneed to lead us through introductions and a welcome.
All right. Good afternoon, and welcome to Better Together, our joint meeting for Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education, as well as the Board of County Commissioners. Before we get started, I would like to make sure we do introductions. So I'll start with the county to my, well, maybe we could just do it around a round table, and I'll just start to my left.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Jarrell, Board of County Commissioners. I have the honor of serving as chair, and I do want to say welcome to our colleagues. I'm looking forward to a great discussion.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Charlita Hatch, and I represent District 1.
Good afternoon. I am Mecklenburg County Commissioner Elaine Powell. I represent North Mecklenburg, District 1.
I'm Shemaye Haynes. I represent District 2 for Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools.
Good evening. My name is Vilma D. Leak, and I represent the most powerful district in the county, and that's District 2. Welcome.
Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Lenora Shipp, and I represent the at-large position for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education. Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome. My name's Arthur Griffin. I have the pleasure of serving as County Commissioner at Large.
I am Reverend Dr. Monty Witherspoon, Member at Large, School Board.
Good afternoon. My name is Yvette Townsend Ingram, also known as Commissioner YTI. I serve you at large on the Board of County Commission.
Good afternoon, Tyrone Wade, County Attorney.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone. Mike Bryant, Mecklenburg County Manager.
All right, and I am Stephanie Sneed. I have the honor and privilege of serving as the chair of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education, elected by the residents of District 4.
Good afternoon. My name is Lee Altman, County Commissioner serving at large, and I also have the privilege of serving as Vice Chair.
My name is Dee Rankin. I also serve on the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools Board of Education. I'm currently serving as Vice Chair, and I'm also elected by the constituents of District 3.
And my name is George Dunlap. I'm elected by the people of District 3. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm Commissioner Susan Rodriguez McDowell, and I have the honor of being elected by the County District 6 people.
Good afternoon. I'm Anna London, and I serve on the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education, and I represent District 6.
Good afternoon. I'm Laura Meyer, and I represent District 5 on the Board of County Commissioners. And I also want to shout out League of Women Voters who are here. So thank you all for being here.
Good afternoon. I'm Cynthia Stone, Board of Ed, representing District 5.
Good afternoon. I am Andre Mays, General Counsel for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education.
Good afternoon. Crystal Hill, Superintendent, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools.
So now we'll turn to staff. I think it's important to do that so you can see the faces of those that you often are communicating with by email as we move to a journey of more collaboration. And so I'll start with Stacy.
Hi, Stacy Mosley, Clerk to the Board of Education.
Can't hear you.
Here it comes. Stacy Mosley.
All right.
Stacy Mosley, Clerk to the Board of Education.
What is she now?
Stacy.
Chastity Dolan, Chief of Staff, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools.
Good afternoon. Melissa Botnick, Deputy Superintendent, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools.
Beth Thompson, Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools.
Tim Ivey, Chief Operations Officer, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools.
Kelly Klutz, Chief Financial Officer, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools.
Anna Hamburger, Deputy General Counsel to the Board of Education.
Laura Francisco, Office of General Counsel, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools.
Charles Jeter, the Executive Director of Intergovernmental Affairs, Legislative Services, and Policy Administration for the Charlotte Mecklenburg Board of Education.
Candace Salmon-Hosey, Chief Technology Officer.
Keisha Khan, Chief Enterprise Resource Officer, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools.
Good afternoon, Angie Wood, Chief Human Resources Officer, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools.
Good afternoon, Nancy Brightwell, Chief of Recruitment, Retention, and Talent Development for Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools.
Good afternoon, Steve Esposito, Chief of Strategic Communications and Engagement, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools.
And I wanted
All right, we're ready for county staff.
the county staff, yes.
Good afternoon. I am Christine Smith, Clerk to the Board.
Good afternoon. I am Arlissa Eason, Deputy Clerk to the Board.
Good afternoon, Leslie Johnson, Deputy County Manager.
Good afternoon. Dr. Kim Campbell, Deputy County Manager over Consolidated Health and Human Services.
Good afternoon, Derek Ramos, Deputy County Manager and Chief of Staff.
Good afternoon, Michelle Attreed, Deputy County Manager.
Hi, I'm David Boyd. I'm the county's Chief Financial Officer.
Good afternoon, Lyden Williams, Deputy Budget Director.
Michael Griswold, Director of Strategy and Innovation for Mecklenburg County.
Good afternoon, I'm Adrian Cox, County's Budget Director.
Okay, I think we've got all staff. If you will stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Before we get into basically the statement of objectives and where we want to take this meeting, I do want to remind everybody that the Board of County Commissioners' priorities include economic development, education, environmental stewardship, health, equity, and wellness, services for seniors, workforce development, and reducing racial disparities. And so today, as in years past, we have decided to leverage the rules of the Board of Education. So colleagues, you all will have 2 minutes for questions and/or comment, and then 30 seconds for any level of follow-up. And so I know if you have questions that cannot be answered, we've decided that, or if you have additional questions, what we've decided is that we will have each of the respective boards email their questions to the clerks so that they can be compiled and given to each entity to be able to address at a different time. We're asking that all questions or comments be germane to the topics that we're discussing today. We know that there are a lot of different issues that can come up and that people are passionate about, but to make this meeting as productive as possible, we need to stay germane to the topics that are here. Additional questions, again, please provide those to the clerk, so we will give those to the superintendent and the manager to distribute to the respective teams. Are we all in agreement?
I am.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much. And before we start, are there any questions about the process? I think it should be pretty clear. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Haynes. Excuse me? Can we get Board Member Haynes a packet, please? So they'll work on grabbing you a packet. Board Member Haynes, thank you. And so with that, we will turn it over to, who's up first, Mr. Manager?
Dr. Hill's going to kick us off with some opening remarks, and I'll follow.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Hill?
Much. You know, I love Mecklenburg County, and tonight we are incredibly blessed to be in a room full of leaders who are committed to doing what is best for our citizens of our county, not only in words, but through demonstrated actions over the last 3 years. Each year, as I've been here at one of our joint meetings, I've seen our collaboration grow stronger and stronger, not just in conversation, but in tangible inputs and measurable outcomes. And we believe the best is yet to come. I am so proud to serve alongside the Board of Education, which took bold steps several years ago to adopt a student outcomes-focused governance model. This approach ensures that decisions reflect the vision and the values of our community. In 2023, the board adopted new goals after collecting over 60,000 pieces of community input. These goals, which we also often reference as Herculean goals and guardrails, are a direct reflection of what our community values most. And we don't just set goals, we monitor the progress at every single board meeting, ensuring transparency and accountability. But we know we cannot achieve these goals alone. That's where the Board of County Commissioners has stepped up year after year, investing in what matters most for education. Your leadership and commitment have been instrumental in aligning resources with our community's priorities. Together, we've successfully navigated 3 fully funded budget cycles with a primary focus on compensation, a strategy driven by community feedback. When we asked what it would take to meet our student outcomes-focused outcome goals, the answer was clear. We must recruit and retain the most talented educators. Thanks to your support, we've increased teacher supplements every single year, consistently landing us among the highest 3 in the state. And you also supported us in funding a compensation study for our classified staff, which was the first in 18 years. This includes our bus drivers, our custodians, and our clerical staff. These investments have been critical, and the academic gains you'll hear about later today are a direct result of this shared commitment. Our progress over the last 3 years proves that we are better together. By continuing to strengthen this partnership, we can ensure that every child in our county has access to the opportunities and associated outcomes that they deserve. Thank you for your leadership, your collaboration, and your unwavering commitment to our community. And at this time, I'll turn it over to my friend and colleague, County Manager Michael Bryant.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, members of both boards. When I was appointed manager on June 30th of last year, I made it very clear that one of my major goals was to enhance collaboration with our community partners. As county manager, I strongly believe in the benefits of cross-sector collaboration and communication. Also, I articulated my vision for Charlotte-Mecklenburg to be an international destination. And of course, I recognize that I cannot accomplish that vision alone. And in an effort to move towards accomplishing my vision for Charlotte-Mecklenburg to be an international destination and work towards achieving the goal of enhancing cross-sector collaboration in partnership with our Superintendent, Dr. Hill, and City Manager Marcus Jones, I hosted a 2 full-day quality of life collaboration on November 20th and 21st. I was very intentional in hosting this collaborative with Dr. Hill and Marcus Jones. You see, when you think about a good quality of life, the services offered by the city, the county, and CMS comes to mind. I believe the qualities of an international destination that offers a great quality of life comprises of a high-performing public school system, safe neighborhoods and streets, a thriving economy, a strong workforce, and access to health and human services, all offered and influenced by the city, the county, and CMS. However, to obtain a high quality of life, it is imperative, as Dr. Hill stated, that we engage our community partners. There were approximately 40 participants at the Community Collaborative back in November. all CEOs, presidents, and executive directors representing the corporate, public, philanthropic, faith, and nonprofit sectors. And we all came together for one shared goal: to design a framework to improve the quality of life for all residents in Mecklenburg County. And part of the framework is to create a shared evaluation process and set of metrics to gauge our progress. We have full buy-in from each participant that attended that collaborative. And as a matter of fact, we've already set the next meeting date. On the day prior to the community collaborative, I had lunch with Mr. Hugh McCall, and I categorized that lunch meeting with him as a master class in leadership. You see, Mr. McCall reminded me that true success is measured by the impact that you have on others. Today, we collectively can embark on a journey to design that framework that will have a positive impact on others, specifically as it relates to each student receiving a quality education so that he or she graduates career or college ready. As county manager, I am committed to working with our phenomenal superintendent to ensure that happens. And at this time, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, I ask that you recognize Michael Griswold, the Director of the Office of Strategy and Innovation, and also who co-facilitated that collaborative, to provide you an overview of that two-day event. Then Dr. Hill and I will close out the presentation. Michael.
Good afternoon, Chair Jarrell, Chair Sneed, County Manager Bryant, Superintendent Hill. Thank you for your time this afternoon. As the manager mentioned, I'm here to share a brief update on the Quality of Life Collaborative, its purpose, its goals, and next steps. The Quality of Life Collaborative, or QLC, was held November 20th and 21st, as the manager mentioned, and co-hosted by Dr. Hill, City Manager Jones, and County Manager Bryant. The goal of this QLC was to identify opportunities for the public, private, and nonprofit sectors in Charlotte-Mecklenburg to partner to address pressing issues in our community. To begin this work, we convened over 35 individuals to participate in a series of facilitated sessions to identify, one, the aspects of the quality of life that were important to the participants, two, to prioritize those aspects, and three, to begin co-developing potential focus areas and strategies that could address these quality of life issues. Here, you can see the various organizations that participated in this QLC convening last November. While these were our initial participants, we did take an intentional approach of asking our participants if and who might be missing from our initial convening. In response to this, we have identified a potential opportunity to partner with CMPD Chief Patterson as part of this initiative, as it is noted at the bottom. I mentioned previously that the QLC participants were charged with identifying focus areas that could be developed into strategies to address quality of life in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. To that end, the QLC participants ultimately identified 7 focus areas related to quality of life. These focus areas are listed on this slide and included topics related to economic and workforce development at the top, valuing education and educators, enhancing the availability of mental health services, as well as safe and affordable housing, as well as an investment in exploring the possibility of creating neighborhood-based community courts and enhancing transportation across the county. Now, I do have a note here that while the 2 education-related focus areas were initially developed separately, and we did pursue that as a group, they did converge. So there was discussion among the participants that it would likely make sense to combine these 2 focus areas, given the overlap that became apparent as these were further developed. So next, I'll provide a bit more detail about the 2 education-related focus areas. So on this slide, you can see the various participants who helped develop this focus area, which included Beth Thompson from CMS, Dr. Diedemeyer from CPCC, Malia James from Town of Matthews, and Joe Bost from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. So while there will be additional work required to further develop these draft strategies, the work group did initially identify opportunities to reframe the role of educators and to further promote the educators as a highly skilled profession. And this was a point of passion for our participants in November. Next, a separate group of participants worked to develop a related area focused on providing supports, resources, compensation, and incentives for educators. This group initially identified 2 strategies related to the establishment of a housing program for educators and, again, the need for a communication strategy that conveys the value of educators and the education profession. While there will be, again, additional work required to more fully develop and flesh out these strategies, we thought that it would be appropriate to brief these 2 bodies on the work done to date and the upcoming next steps. So previously, I mentioned that we asked participants if there was anyone missing from our initial conversation and convening in November. We did this because feedback and evaluation are critical components to the work that all of us in this room do to serve the community and our partners. As part of that continual improvement process, we asked QLC participants to provide feedback about the initial convening and how we can continue to best work together. This slide outlines several clear themes that emerge from our participants, including support and positivity around the initiative and the collaborative spirit that was present in November. Our participants also stressed the importance of building on that momentum and clearly defining roles, structure, and having clear and consistent communication to keep the momentum. Finally, multiple participants also mentioned that Charlotte-Mecklenburg is a can-do place, and I would agree with that. And while we have work to do, we are ready to get started together. So to that end, my team and I have been working over the past few weeks to compile all the information and feedback collected just before Thanksgiving at the November convening. We identified a need to pull together a steering committee representing the city, county, CMS, corporate partners, and representatives from the UNC Charlotte Urban Institute. Earlier today, we hosted the kickoff meeting for our QLC steering committee, and we plan to work with this group to re-engage our various participants and focus groups to build out the strategies into a QLC strategic plan. This plan will include detailed strategies and actions to address quality of life in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, as well as performance indicators so that we as a community will have clear understanding of our progress. As this plan develops, we are committed to staying in alignment with our executive sponsors at the county, city, and CMS. Finally, we're currently planning to reconvene the group on March 27th to finalize the plan with our QLC partners. And as you can see here on the slide, the steering committee members, as they exist right now, as we kicked off earlier today, are myself representing the county, Dr. Monica Allen representing the city of Charlotte, Beth Thompson representing CMS, Dr. Lori Thomas from the Urban Institute, and Lauren Woodruff from Bank of America representing our private partners. So this slide outlines the QLC's past and upcoming timeline. As I mentioned previously, after we combined all the materials and confirmed our steering committee in December, we shifted to the next phase, which was today's kickoff with our steering committee to gain alignment on our internal framework, roles, responsibilities, and other items of logistical nature. Moving into February, we will plan to continue working with our steering committee to re-engage the participants and further build out the focus areas and strategies via facilitated sessions. This will lead us into sharing a draft plan with the QLC participants in March, and then later reconvening the group to finalize the plan. And from that point, we will work to implement the identified strategies in partnership with our QLC partners. Oh, maybe not. There it goes. So I mentioned implementing these strategies in conjunction with our QLC partners, and this ongoing partnership will be critical to the success of this initiative. As we shared with the participants in November, there are a host of issues that impact our Charlotte-Mecklenburg community, and these issues are not unsolvable, but the solutions are unlikely to come from any one person or organization. To meet the moment that we have in front of us will require partnership, collaboration, and leaning into the simple fact that we are all better together. So with that, I'm going to now turn the floor over to County Manager Bryant and Superintendent Hill to share some additional QLC updates and information, and following their updates, we'll have time for any questions. Thank you very much.
Michael, I'll cover this next slide and then turn it over to Dr. Hill to close out the presentation. So on this slide here, you see an example of some of the conversations that have emerged as a result of this collaboration. Our city manager, Marcus Jones, Superintendent Dr. Hill, and myself, we have a standing meeting. We meet at least once a month. And these are the topics that we have begun to have discussions on that we believe will benefit all three of our organizations and the community as a whole. Beginning with identifying opportunities to swap land and or facilities to address gaps in service areas. So we all, the three of us, are coming to the table with a list of property, land, assets that we currently own that through a swap may help the other achieve their goals. Improve coordination of youth workforce development programs. We realize, although we have really good youth programs in our opinions, we're serving some of the same kids. So we want to try to scale it through coordination and collaboration. If you think about having one single program that can offer, of course, some level of academic education, park and recreation on the county side, public safety on the city side, that we think it'll be even more robust as well. Again, conversations that we're having. In addition to that, summer youth programs. Similar as the reason, same reason on, let me step back, I'm sorry, workforce development programs. Again, this is another opportunity for us to come together instead of having a minimum of 3 separate workforce development programs, have one program that support our youth and young adults as well. Another conversation that we're having. And then last but certainly not least, we're having conversations as it relates to how can the city, the county, of course, the school district, as well as our community partners come together to address increase in teacher pay so that it is at least, at a minimum, it meets the livable wage. With that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Hill.
Thank you so much. So on the next slide, I think it's important just so we make sure everyone has a clear understanding of how teachers' salaries are paid. All teachers in North Carolina earn a state-determined and funded base salary based on the North Carolina teacher salary scale. And of course, this is determined by general statute. All teachers in North Carolina also earn a state-determined and funded teacher supplement in addition to the base salary, except teachers who work in the following counties: Charlotte-Mecklenburg, Wake, Guilford, New Hanover, Buncombe, Asheville City, Forsyth, and Durham County. And if you'll recall, we shared this information with you last year. That list has grown slightly. Then also, an overwhelming majority of teachers in North Carolina earn a locally determined supplement funded by the local Board of County Commissioners, which I mentioned earlier. We are very thankful for what our county commissioners do for us here in Charlotte-Meck. And then in addition to that, some teachers in North Carolina earn an additional local supplement as determined by districts that may have taxing authority or local government who make the decision for a special tax for education. So on the next slide, what we just wanted to demonstrate and show is the living wage by county. And we've pulled some counties that are close by and perhaps comparable. That line that you see at the top, that gold line, that is the living wage according to the MIT Living Wage Calculator. So in the presentation, you can click on that link and it'll take you to the source. But what you'll notice here is that blue bar is the base salary that I discussed. The maroon colored bar is the local supplement. The green is the state supplement. And then, of course, you see that gold bar as a living wage. Our goal is to get teachers at least to the minimum living wage. And so on the next slide, you will see this is very much in draft form. We've put this information together. The information is accurate, but we, of course, will be going out toward the community to get feedback on this. But what we did is take a look. What you see, these bars represented here, is teachers that have 0 experience. So our first-year teachers would be the far left. and all the way to the right would be a teacher with 30 years experience. You will see that gold living wage bar right there, and so if you look on the previous slide compared to this slide, you will see how much further we have to go to get where we want to be, but of course we want to exceed that gold line. I do want to point out that us coming together and talking about how to increase teacher salaries in North Carolina is not a substitute for what our state should be doing in terms of base salary. All teachers in North Carolina deserve a livable wage, and that should be funded, determined and funded at the state. However, we are not there yet. As you all know, it's not new information, but North Carolina falls dead last in terms of teacher pay, with surrounding states all around us exceeding what our base teacher pay is. So our idea is to continue, of course, to collaborate with our county partners for a teacher supplement. I've committed that is something that I will always recommend in terms of my budget to the school board. We are also in the process of looking within our current operating budget to see where we can realign funds in order to increase the teacher supplement, and then thinking about, from a community standpoint, what can be done to support our teachers here. And at this time, I will stop and turn it back over to our chairs for discussion.
Thank you.
All right, so I think we will lead with Board of Education members if you have questions. Board Member Haynes.
Sure. So less of a question and just a real quick comment. I'm curious to know, in the QL process that you've laid out, where does the community involvement land in that? Because I'm assuming that we're hoping that we improve the lives of the people who live here, and just kind of where the, I didn't say engagement, I said involvement.
Yes, thank you for that question, Board Member Haynes. I could not agree more. And we actually, I don't know if it was listed on the table, but we did have representation from our community. We had someone that wasn't necessarily affiliated with all those organizations that were listed, but was there as a resident of Mecklenburg County, and we intend to continue that.
Thank you.
Board membership.
Yes, thank you for talking about enhancing the summer youth program. That's always been a big one in us, and looking at how we're going to really come together to make that happen, because that's critical that we have our young people involved in programs, internships, and looking at various ages as we look at the summer programs. What we do, we've had various programs, as you know, throughout many years. What are you all really thinking about when you say enhancing the summer youth programs?
Well, I'll start, and certainly yield to Dr. Hill as well. We saying, for me, it's all about more coordination, and also ensuring that we have a more robust type of program. Because what I hear is that, you know, from the youth programming that we provide, is that there's so many opportunities to ensure that the programming, that it responds and provides support to ensure that the youth remain on the right track. And that we believe by coming together, we can put together a program that offer a variety of services to do just that, to keep them on the right track and to hopefully create some type of trajectory, while also, and it's not always about money, but it is about money, we're able to save, so we're not investing for and providing programming for the same students as well. And then also it gives us more oversight from a coordinated perspective also, to ensure that the programming is aligned to some of these quality of life indicators that we've identified.
Thank you.
Board member Monterey Duval.
Thank you, County Manager Bryant. I'm sorry if this was already asked. I love this idea of better together and these insights that we've collected based on this feedback. What's the plan to turn these insights into reality? Are there dollars allocated behind this? Is there timelines? I'm very excited, so that's why I'm asking.
It's a good question, and to be very transparent, that is why we have the philanthropic community attending these meetings as well. Because clearly, we cannot fund this alone. When I say we, the county, CMS, or the city, but there's a common interest in the goals that we're identifying. And that's why we have these community partners at the table to let them know that you have an opportunity to contribute. You heard Dr. Hill say when we talk about increasing our teacher pay to a more livable wage, the county can't fund that alone. And as she also noted, it's the responsibility of the state. But quite frankly, I've been doing this in terms of preparing county budgets in some shape or form for over 23 years. Some of you all have served on this board, Commissioner Dunlap, as well as Commissioner Leak, when you were on the school board. The narrative hasn't changed, that we're waiting on the state, we're waiting on the state, and we have the option to do nothing or do something. We want to do something, and we're trying to figure it out, and with respect to it being a cost aligned to it, that's why we have those partners in the room so that we can leverage their resources as well. And the commitment is there so far, and hopefully it'll continue.
I have a follow-up. I'm sure you have done this already, but if these are quantified, I think it would be much easier to ask for it because it makes it real. I mean, you didn't present that, but if you're like, we need 500, I'm just making this up, $3 million for teacher pay, whatever, I think it's good to quantify those as well, to have an idea of what we're up against. Thank you.
Yeah, and you may have noted that's where we said we're not only designing the framework, but the metrics also are associated with that so we can track it accordingly.
Thank you.
Board Member Stone.
Thank you. As you consider the cost of living and the impact on affordable housing for educators, there are also two other elements that really take money away from teachers, and that's their personal child care costs. You'll see a lot of teachers leaving because their personal child care costs exceed the money they make. Also, the rising health care cost, and I'm not, again, that's the state, but maybe something could be considered locally. Thank you.
So I have a question as well. I'm looking at the timeline for February, and it has to facilitate virtual focus area group sessions. I think it's important that these focus groups, so two comments. I think it's important that these are intentional in reaching out. So I'm wondering what strategies you're going to use to make sure you have a robust participation in the virtual focus groups. And then I'll stop it there.
Sure. So just a point of clarity. So when we say that we are going to schedule follow-up meetings with those focus area groups, those are the individuals that participated in the original focus areas at the convening. So for instance, with this value of the education profession, we are planning to bring back these 4 participants plus engage with the steering committee and these individuals to see who might be missing from these focus areas so that they can continue to build out those draft strategies, actions, and measures that the managers mentioned. But to your point and to the manager's point, we will continue to bake in the community input and different ways to do that. But when we talk about the focus area participants and focus area groups, we're talking about bringing back together the participants from the November QLC.
So I guess my question is there no opportunity for those that this would impact the most for them to participate?
So I think certainly we could talk about that as we move forward. Right now, we are still developing draft strategies. So the strategies that are listed here, that's about as deep as we've gone so far. So I think before we do any additional engagement or conversation or anything, I think we would need to build out the plan so that there would be something for individuals to react to or to provide feedback on. But to the manager's point, I think certainly that's something that we will continue to include.
Board members, are there any other questions from Board of Ed? Board Member Haynes.
Yes, kind of a build off of what Chair Snead just said. I think my question was really to get to where the community lands in terms of the development of the plan itself. You may be aware that many times we establish plans before our end customer gets a chance to vet it out, and we end up doing things to people versus with people. So I want to just kind of take the opportunity to say, I'm hoping that the community can be a part of the plan, not just see the end result and yea or nay.
All right, this will be do you have a question?
Well, sure, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Liz, you may have to follow up with your question in writing, but this will be the last question for Board Member London, because we have to turn it over to the county commissioners.
Perfect. So I love to hear the idea of bringing together city and county around youth summer programs as well as workforce development programming. And I would love to, it is a question, but do you think, I know it's the beginning stages of that conversation, but is there opportunity to look at potentially, and I'm just making up these numbers, but potentially increasing the number of opportunities that are provided to youth in Charlotte-Mecklenburg, understanding that right now, city provides programs, county provides programs, but we're really serving the same youth a lot of times. So I would love to see an increase potentially, or an increased opportunity for students, career-connected learning for CMS students in high school. So I love that, I know that's been talked about for years, so I am encouraged, and I love that you all are bringing that up and having that conversation.
Thank you, Commissioner Jarrell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, County Commissioners, we're going to start with Commissioner Griffin, then go to Commissioner Rodriguez McDowell, Dunlap, then Commissioner Powell.
Down this way.
I have you. I'm just going down the list, Commissioner Lee. We'll get to you.
Well, first of all, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the time you've spent so far in trying to frame out the next steps forward. My comment, observation, and question would be, if you've been around for a while, at least several decades, we do this about once every 10 years. The concern I have is before we fix the problem, can we first identify the problem with specific objectives? A couple of comments have been made already about involving people in the neighborhood. Let's identify the problem. Then let's figure out how to fix it as opposed to doing it. Examples, Project Lift, Leading on Opportunity, the Chetty Study, Read Charlotte. I mean, I can go down the list. If you've been around long enough, you remember Gatlin Juvenile Center that we were part of, and CMS was a part of. So let's identify the problem, then start trying to formulate a solution so that the public can follow you. The philanthropic community has always been at the table when you initiate these programs, but I'm not sure where they go after that. And then the public sector has to pick up the ball. So, Mr. Manager, Madam Superintendent, just go back in the history books and see what we've already done. I, too, also meet with Hugh McCall, just like others in this room. And one of the things he consistently talks about is the increased number of poor people in Mecklenburg County. So how do we fix that? And then put together a solution and activities to make sure we're going to be on track. So I'm excited if we identify the problems. I'm really not excited if we continue going down the road just simply saying this is the solution to whatever the problems are out there. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Commissioner Rodriguez McDowell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Part of the question that I had, I think other people have already touched on, but I really want to understand more about this goal of getting to living wage for teachers. And partly, Superintendent Hill, in your comments, I think, could you just repeat or remind me the part that you said about your commitment in your budget? Like, I didn't understand if you meant that some of your budget you have flexibility on in order to help increase that living wage. But before I lose my time, I wanted to understand that better, and I also just wanted to say that I 100% think we have got to get to living wage, I wanted to make sure I understood what the slide says. Is it only talking about beginning teacher wages versus living wage because they're the lowest right now? Is that what's being called out on this slide? And then on the next slide, it shows aligned teacher pay above living wage, and it's showing the other years of service. I just kind of wanted to understand that better.
Thank you so much. So the first thing that I talked about was the state, of course, being responsible in terms of the base salary.
Yeah.
And then the Board of County Commissioners supports us with that teacher supplement.
Right.
So what we have done over the last 2 years in terms of our current operating budget is we know that really good organizations always look at their current operating budget and make realignments to meet the current need. So we do have opportunities to look at our current operating budget to see what are the things that we have that may not be yielding the highest result, that we know we could maybe repurpose those funds and put that towards a teacher supplement. So we are actively doing that right now in terms of our budget. And in terms of the slides, the first slide was really just to demonstrate what things look like so this slide is for beginning teachers. So yes, the goal is always to take a look at beginning teacher pay because they are, of course, the lowest. So this first slide is just to look at different districts that are surrounding and comparable and what that looks like in terms of the living wage. But on the second slide, you are correct. It was intentional that we wanted to call out that a 30-year veteran, current state, is barely at living wage. So we think it's really important for the public to understand that our strategy has to be very much multifaceted. We can't only focus on our beginning teachers. We also need to focus on our more experienced teachers because we understand what more experienced teachers bring to the table. All are valuable, but there's, different assets from different folks that we have. The other thing that I think is really important to point out is on the state teacher scale, from year 15 to 25, it's flat, meaning that if there is no supplement at the local level, teachers they get nothing, in essence, from year 15 to year 25. So over the years, we've had we've heard from our teachers in our community that we need to address all teachers, not just teachers at the beginning of the pay scale.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Dunlap, then Commissioner Powell.
Thank you. Well, I, for one, am really excited about what I hear for a number of reasons. In July, I will be installed as the national president of counties, and I have committed that during my year of service as president, I will focus on youth and youth violence. And to hear this discussion that has taken place thus far falls right in line with the things that I want to do. And I'm excited that Mecklenburg County will take the lead. I'm excited that our community will get behind the effort. And I'm looking forward to collaboratively working on improving the lives of young people in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell.
Thank you. I appreciate the discussion on living wage, and I think sometimes that we talk at such a high level that the public might not really understand, like the commitment from the county. Yep. And it's my understanding that it was almost $430 million last year, additional in operating support that the state didn't fund. So I think that's the right number.
Mm-hmm. And Adrian Cost is going to cover that when we talk about our.
Well, and so I think we could say it over and over that we are filling a gap that the state isn't providing. And, because, people have all kinds of criticisms of us. It's important to keep that in mind. Yeah, I really appreciate the whole focus on collaboration. I do have some sirens going off. When the first thing that's listed is identifying opportunities to swap land and facilities to address gaps, a siren goes off. We covered our priorities. Environmental stewardship is one of our top priorities. I am unaware of any significant pieces of land that have been land banked for this purpose. We're struggling. And so I think that we need we really need energy and commitment, collaboration and intentionality from the city on these rezonings. We need it in pre-development because, you know, all these things are happening, increasing the population, increasing the burden on county and on CMS without thinking about how are we going to do it? Where are we going to put it? Where are we going to put the extra schools? Where are we going to put the fire stations? Where are we going to put these things? There is only limited land left. And so we don't have, it's a scary solution because we don't have extra land to swap. And so I really hope we can do a lot more in pre-development. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next up, we'll have Commissioner Leek, then Commissioner Meyer.
Let me first say thank you for your presentation, and it's good to know that the general public, business people are looking at the problem of teacher salary. Teacher salary has been a problem over the years. It has not just happened now. It's been a major issue since the time began because men have always politically felt that was a woman's place in the classroom. So we're still struggling with that mentality of hoping to raise the salary for those who need it the most. And many women are head of the household. So we are struggling with that process. We also know that there is a discrimination process in salaries. Teach for America pays 12.5% more for teachers than what the classroom other teachers get. But they're not teaching, they're doing business. So why aren't we placing them where they're supposed to be? And that's in the classroom. That's number one. So we need to change that mentality in Raleigh that education is for any gender to participate in and to make a living. So until we change that mentality, we're going to have the problem of teacher pay. The second thing is people in New York, Washington, and up north, they finish out their retirement and come North Carolina, South Carolina, after retirement and work, who are senior teachers, come to these communities and double dip with their retirement from New York, Washington, or wherever they're from, plus what they get from us. So we are in serious trouble when we talk about teacher salary. It's not new. It's not brand new. And my time is up? Always. So we need to change the philosophy, and I'll come back and talk about it some more.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you so much. I want to first say thank you to the leadership of the county and the city and CMS for starting these conversations. Two questions. Does the land swap, and you might have said this, I apologize, did the land swap conversations, does that address sports fields playing with some of our community leagues? And also, living wage. Love this conversation. I can't believe we're not paying a living wage. And two things on that. Other counties in the state who is paying a living wage, and I know that's according to their county. It's different for each county. And if there's, I know the press is listening to us. We need to scream it from the mountaintops how teachers are paid in this state, how salaries are determined, because the public just doesn't understand that it's not just the county. It is the state, and they are failing this state. And so I would like the press to please publicize this. It's so important. You've got a way bigger audience than we do. We need you to talk about this. So just those two questions.
Regarding your first question, Commissioner Myers, we're just beginning those conversations about land swap. Certainly myself, City Manager Marcus Jones, we've had meetings both jointly and individually with these associations regarding access to those fields and addressing gaps in services in the community. So we will factor some of that, but we haven't gotten that far down the road with those conversations.
Can I just say something real fast to that? We've talked about it like for a couple of years now, and it's not happening. And that's why my question was this, because I don't know if that was included in that
Thank you for that
conversation.
question.
Right. And the living wage in other counties.
Yes, I did want to point out that, that other counties are not meeting their living wage, especially the ones that are comparable. And so on this slide, you will see that gold bar is the living wage, and Cabarrus, CMS Wake, Chapel Hill Union, Durham are not meeting there. So this is not this issue is not germane to Mecklenburg County. This is the state of North Carolina. A slide that I don't have up there that I do want to make sure that I call out is North Carolina beginning teachers' base salary in 24-25 was $41,000. And that's lower than Mississippi, Georgia, West Virginia, Tennessee, South Carolina, Alabama, and Kentucky. So this is not Mecklenburg County, but again, we're blessed in Mecklenburg County because we see the issue and there's collaboration and demonstrated support from our county commissioners, but we know that the county commissioners cannot fill this huge gap that's there from the state. So we've got to work together to do something better. Thank you.
Commissioner Townsend Ingram, then Vice Chair Altman.
Thank you so much, everyone. I want to just say that this is a great start. Even before I became elected, my advocacy always included asking, when are we going to collaborate with city, county, school board, all of the above. And you can go back to tapes and see that. I've got 6 questions, and I only have 2 minutes. So whatever can be noted for later discussion is great. And my questions are along the lines of what Commissioner Griffin, Commissioner Haynes, and Board Member Haynes and Chair Sneed were talking about. Feel very much like this level is so high that us, your board, who makes policies and who answers to the public, we have to ask questions after the fact, after you've done all this. I found out about certain meetings that I wanted to be there, but was told that, well, we only included certain people for a certain reason and that kind of thing, and that is what we're driving at. How are county partners selected? Who are you selecting? Are you selecting the same ones every time? Because the public very much thinks that. I had a community partner call me and say, you didn't know about this? And I'm like, no, I didn't know about this. And they want to know, well, how could I get involved in being someone who was there? And you said you're going to survey those county partners. Well, if you're surveying the people that are already there, you're missing a great, huge portion of people that want to provide input, including your county commission and your board members. And the questions that we have here today can actually influence what it is that you're building on, your platform. So my question, cross-sector communication plan was mentioned. I want to know what that is. International destination plan, what is that? How are county partners selected? I already said that. Because there has to be, I want you to remember 2 words, parity and equity. I have a list of questions I didn't get to.
Go through your other 2 questions. I think you got through 4. Can you go through your other 2?
Yep. Quality of life explorer, does that match with the quality of life here? Communication plan and calendar, can we get that, please? There is no calendar. I've been begging for one. Best practices, what went right, what went wrong. That's in line with what Commissioner Griffin said. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm going to try to, I think I've captured all your questions, Commissioner YTI. Beginning with the county partners and who was selected and why. We were very intentional in selecting a group and trying to maintain a good, healthy balance that would allow us to work through this exercise so that it's within the size. When you think about the size of the group, right now we had 40 people. If you go up to 50, 60 or so, it makes it that much more challenging to do the work.
Talk about how they were selected.
In terms of how were they selected?
Right, because
it was based on primarily, as you know, when I was appointed, I went on this listening tour. And I met with CEOs and presidents from different sectors. And as I met with them, I told them that, hey, I'm going to host this Quality of Life Collaborative. And I would like to know, would you be willing to partner and support this as well? And just because we're now planning for the second meeting, it does not mean that eventually we're not going to engage others as well. Because the topics that we're discussing and the goals that we identified, I believe, are aligned to my board's priorities. And those priorities, as you know, are informed through the public engagement surveys that we facilitate. So I would argue that it is inclusive of community input through the form of public engagement. Because if you look at the indicators that we've identified to improve quality of life, you will see a relationship with your priorities: education, affordable housing, workforce development, economic development. All that is my board's priorities. You all identified those priorities based on our budget director sharing with you the survey data from public engagement. So it's all connected and relevant in terms of being inclusive of community residents. But at some point, you have to have the administrators in a room to sort through this and identify strategies so we can bring it forward for you to weigh in before we finalize it. And that's what we're going to do. You've heard Michael Griswold say, right now we're making the sausage. We got to start from somewhere. And once it gets close to being fully baked, we're going to engage you all. What I shared with that group, my intent on how I'm going to utilize this, and I've been upfront with my board, is through the implementation of the balanced scorecard. And that is what that is tied to. Those goals are consistent with the desired goals that we're putting in place on the balanced scorecard. And to date, my board has received 3 updates on their scorecard. And you're going to get a 4th update at the retreat at the end of the month. So I disagree that the board hasn't been engaged, that you're not in a position to articulate it, because we keep this work in front of you. And I'm actually impressed and appreciate folks wanting to be in attendance, because that tells me we're doing something right. But the intent is not to close folks off and not allow them to be a part of this important work, but instead is to have a tight group, a manageable group, that we can come together and be productive. And once we get the product in place, then scale it to others that want to be a part of it. In terms of a cross-sector communication plan, I didn't catch that.
So for both of the education focus areas, there were strategies that spoke to needing to communicate to the public the value of the profession. So as part of those focus areas, that will be, a thread that we'll continue to pull on. But to date, that has not yet been developed.
Thank you. Vice Chair Altman.
Thank you. I really appreciate also the school board chair and the county manager for your collaboration. I think achieving fully fund 3 years running is an enormous accomplishment, and I salute you both. And I also want to recognize the chair of the county commission and the chair of the school board, because I think it is your collaboration and leadership that you two bring that is really making all the difference also. And so I'm so grateful to you, to both of you. I think we're going to hear about it more, but I just want to say that last year alone, Mecklenburg County had to redirect $429 million from what else we could have used it for to fill the gap left by the failure of the state to pay what they're supposed to be paying here. That was only last year. And so the taxpayer needs to understand why we're in this conundrum. What I would like to know from CMS is, do you have an idea, an estimate of what it would take to bring it up to a living wage? I assume you do have that number. I would love to know what it is and to hear what that implications it might be for the tax rate. And before I stop talking, I would like to conclude by underscoring and echoing what School Board Member London said about the exciting aspects of improved coordination of youth workforce development programs. I too am very excited by what I saw on this quality of life collaborative initiatives. And where we may be able to find underutilized or empty buildings to maximize the good for the community. And I love the creativity and the effort that's gone into the thinking here, and the effort to make sure that our kids are trained with skill sets that are going to be in demand with our area employers as we continue to recruit great new businesses here.
Thank you. Before I allow Chief Klutz to answer that question, I just want to be very, very clear. We are going to give you a dollar amount. It will be sticker shock. I want to be very clear. We would never ask the Board of County Commissioners for this amount of money to bring us to a livable wage. That's not what this is about. I will continue to ask about 5%, the same thing that's been asked year over year. Last year, when we presented our budget, we provided a 5-year forecast, and in that document, we indicated 5% for every single year for the next 5 years. So that's my plan. In addition to that, we plan on looking internally to figure out how we can redirect and come up with a number. We're not sure what that number is yet, but it will be a number that we hope to bring forward in our budget to the board. So when Chief Klutz gives you this number, I just want everybody to understand the magnitude of that number. But I want press, media, do not say that we are asking the county or the taxpayer to take on this burden, because that's not what this is about. I think more importantly, what it is about is the public needs to understand that they're not at a livable wage, and the state has to act in order for something to happen. In the meantime, we need to have this discussion.
State is responsible.
Yep.
Chief Klutz, can you go to the podium, maybe? And maybe we'll solve to that in just a few.
It tells you right here where the money has to come. We don't have a budget.
I can use this. I'm allowed to touch this. If I can get to the slide, I think it'll help us. Somebody else help me get to the slide. There's a slide that starts with multi-year goal. No. You over here? There we are. Thank you very much. So this slide, the yellow bar indicates the living wage. The dollars that we have represented here is a goal that we want feedback on and we feel is a desirable state for our teachers. The desirable state would be $60,000 for a beginning teacher in A0. Adding $19,000 to the base pay, the state base pay all the way across for every teacher. So at A30, we're adding $19,000. So you can see that would then we would then be above living wage, which is the desire. This proposal would cost $114 million to do so. About $23 million if you did it over a 5-year period, about $23 million every year. We normally ask you for about $8 to $9 million annually, so you're going to more than double the need if we were going to do this over a 5-year period.
Gotcha. Thank you. All right.
Clarity to that, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry.
I want to add a point of clarity in terms of the county's budget. As the superintendent stated, we're having a conversation with our community partners, and let's say, for example, they were able to come through collectively with some dollar amount that would move us closer to that livable wage, whether it is a span over 5 years, 10 years. You have to be mindful that that would be one-time funding, right? So if that was realized, once that funding is fully expended, of course, you got to close that gap. And in our conversations, as Dr. Hill said and I will say, we know that the county cannot afford to fill that gap.
Can't do it.
So I just want to make it clear to you all that as we have these conversations, we're also balancing our reality, and that gets to the earlier point made that the state still has that responsibility to fully fund teacher pay. So, but as we explore some temporary solutions, for lack of better wording, whatever we come up with, it is only temporary, and it creates, I don't say a structural deficit, but eventually it would, because you've got to close that gap.
Right.
And that's just being fully transparent as we go down this path together and see where it leads us.
Thank you. Hold on, team. I want to make some observations, and we do have to move on. We've got multiple presentations, team, so I'm going to make some points very quickly. Number one, everyone has heard the 429 million deficit gap referenced. That is just for education. That does not include the number that the board has to include with our other responsibilities. So I want to make that clear. You'll see what the totality of that number is shortly. Secondly, with respect to the multi-year goal, I'm curious to know, the way that I'm looking at that, that is a state of as today. It does not factor in 30 years from now what the cost of living will be. So when you look at that 74,950, to me, that's not the real number. That is steady state today, and I see you shaking your head. So that we have to really take into consideration as we're looking at this number. So again, obviously, you all will work that out, but that's sort of a misnomer. 30 years from now, that number is well north of $100,000. So keep that, and that starting number is well north of 60,000, 30 years from now. Third point, or question, and again, we can take the questions actually offline, but do we have any history, the way you all are working together with our city manager is unprecedented. Do we have any historical precedent of shared budget responsibilities between the three entities? So when you look at the workforce, the whole framework that's being put together, and it looks like we're all going in together, there's going to be a shared financial responsibility. Just curious, do we have any historical precedent for that? And then the final piece that I'd like to lift up, when you look at the way we're moving, obviously Better Together is amazing. Certainly we are stronger together. Alignment of our legislative agendas to lobby Raleigh is going to be critical for us to bring our resources together, city, CMS, and county, with those agendas with respect to the needs here. We are 23% of the economic engine of this state. Coming together is going to be critical for our lobbyists, our staffs, and our alignment of agendas, and using our corporate partners to help us in that fight as well. So I would really, Madam Superintendent, Mr. Manager, when you are meeting with Mr. Jones, I would love to see us talk about a level of collaboration coming together with with the legislative agenda, with our lobbyists, and formulating a plan where we are pushing 2 or 3 big shared rocks, and we're able to track and continue to monitor as we move forward. So those are the elements that I wanted to lift up from this conversation.
Regarding your question pertaining to some historical precedent from a funding perspective, I'm not aware from the perspective of all 3 entities.
Right.
Perhaps potentially from the city and county, CMPD, releasing unincorporated areas, for example, but not between the 3 organizations.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Let me give 30 seconds to Commissioner Griffin, and it has to be 30.
It's 30 seconds. We haven't included the city. A great school system also is a benefit to the city of Charlotte. The city sits at the same table in your collaborative.
That's right.
In some of the counties in North Carolina, where there are city school districts and county school districts, the city do chip in. I think Carborough and Chapel Hill will be an example. So let's invite the city to this conversation.
You got to get permission from the state.
I just want to second that.
That's right.
And I feel comfortable saying on behalf of our city manager, he would agree, because we know that one of the many advantages relative to a strong school system is it has an impact on economic development as well.
And it addresses the chairman's concern about long-term. There are two taxing agencies in Charlotte. One's the county, one's the city.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Really, really quick, the 114 million, I know, what that's, that represents a huge number. Can you put it into cents for property tax? Like, how many cents does that equal?
Our property tax, Adrian and I were talking about this morning. We haven't calculated for next fiscal year, but currently it's 31.
So it would cost 3.8 cents more in property tax to meet that number.
If the county was to fund it, but we made it clear we're not.
Right. I understand. But I just think it's helpful for everybody to know what that means in actual property tax terms.
That's right.
So 3.8 cents.
So I just want to, before we go on to, thank you so much for your presentation, but before we go on to Dr. Hill, next, I just did want to say that Commissioner Griffin mentioned that the taxes that Chapel Hill and Carball, again, they didn't have the ability to do that independently, but they did have to seek that permission through the state legislature, through the General Assembly. Dr. Hill? I thought you were introducing her.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are very pleased at this time to introduce to you for an update in terms of academic outcomes, Chief Beth Thompson, who serves as our Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer.
Good afternoon. Each year, we receive a large amount of data from the state of North Carolina telling us about the academic achievement of our students for the previous school year. This data is all a part of our North Carolina accountability model. Data for all public schools across North Carolina is located on the state website. The QR code on the left here takes you directly there and will tell you everything about school performance for every charter school and school district across the state of North Carolina. We, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools, also chronicle year-over-year data, including the official 183-slide comprehensive presentation on 24-25 performance of students in Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. That's located on our website on the Data, Statistics, and Fast Facts page, and that QR code in the middle here will take you directly to it. Make sure you have your glasses handy because there is a lot of data located there. And while the focus of this afternoon's presentation is on the performance of students last year using those state accountability metrics, the Charlotte Mecklenburg School Board monitors our progress toward our 4 goals at every Board of Education meeting. Every report and every meeting video is chronicled on our strategic plan page of our Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools website, and the third QR code takes you directly to that website. So while what we're going to talk about today in 11 minutes and 20 seconds is a summary of those 24-25 results, all results are available transparently using those QR codes. And should I not be able to respond to any questions today, I'll be sure and get that information to you upon emailing your clerks. Shown here are our 4 district goals. Those take that state accountability model data and provide a narrow focus that's aligned, that we use for continuous improvement during the 5 years of our strategic plan that are aligned to our community's vision and values. Again, today we're focusing on state accountability metrics, but again, every monitoring report and video is on our website. So let's look at those metrics, the metrics that the state of North Carolina uses to evaluate the impact of every school in North Carolina. Ultimately, those metrics combine to produce a school performance grade. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. On the left, you see the metrics that the state uses for elementary and middle schools to determine school performance are the following: reading, math, Math 1, science grades 5 and 8, grade level proficiency scores. The state also uses the progress of English language learners in learning English
And the state looks at student growth. So in the first bullet, the first area, they look at student proficiency. They also look at student growth. On the right, you see that for high schools, those metrics are different. They include English 2, math, and biology grade level proficiency scores, graduation rate, student performance of 17 or higher on the ACT or ACT work keys, math course rigor, the progress of English language learners in learning English, and again, student academic growth. For all schools, a participation rate of students of 95% is expected, and those participation rates are factored into those school performance grades as well. So when we consider these metrics, here's how students in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools in 24-25 did. In the 24-25 school year, Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools outperformed North Carolina in overall grade level proficiency and saw significant increases in both reading and math, composite increases of 5.2% in reading, grades 3-8, 4.6% in math, grades 3-8, and 8.2% in high school math 3. Of the 175 schools that receive a growth score in a school performance grade, 156, that's 89.1% of Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools met or exceeded growth. Remember that last metric was student growth as a part of a school performance grade, 89.1%. This is the highest number in percent of schools meeting or exceeding growth in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history, and is a significant increase over the 146 who met or exceeded growth the previous year. But we're about exceeding growth because we know that we need our students to make sure they outpace the expectation. So of those 156 that met or exceeded, let me tell you how many exceeded. Of those 156, 115 exceeded growth last year. Also the highest number in percent in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history. And the number of schools exceeding growth is an increase of 52 schools over the previous school year. And when we compare our district's performance to the performance of every other school district in North Carolina, Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools ranked number 10 out of 115 schools for the percent of schools meeting or exceeding growth, an increase from a ranking of 20 the previous school year. And here are the schools that exceeded growth last year with asterisks next to the ones who have done it for consecutive years. And I show you this slide because the schools on this list are from all over Charlotte, across all of our neighborhoods and communities. They're proof points of possibility, and they're places with practices that we're replicating. So remember, all these metrics come together to form a school performance grade. Let's see how schools performed in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools last year. 123, that's 70% of Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools earned a school performance grade of an A, B, or C. That's an increase of 21 schools from the previous 23-24 school year, and the largest single-year increase in number and percent of schools earning an A, B, or C in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history. 55 schools improved their letter grades from the 23-24 to 24-25 school year. And when you look longitudinally over what progress has looked like in this area, remembering school performance grades are the way North Carolina evaluates the impact of schools. While between 21-22 and 23-24, you see smaller incremental improvements in the number of schools with a school letter grade of an A, B, or C. In 24-25, there was dramatic improvement. That line went up farther, an increase from 59% of schools with a school performance grade of an A, B, or C to 70% in just 1 year. And when you break that down by school performance grade category, I want to note that we don't have failing schools in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, but we have had schools who earn a school performance grade of an F and are on a rapid cycle of improvement. In the school year 21-22, there were 27 of those schools. Last year, there were only 6. And this year, you better believe we're going to get to 0. 31 schools no longer have a state low-performing designation, also the largest single-year decrease in the number of schools with a low-performing school designation in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools history. And when we look at student growth, another metric, remember that last metric in the what makes up a school performance grade, you see the following. And you've seen this slide multiple years. In 2018-19 and 21-22, shown here on the left, you can see that students in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools met or exceeded growth in many content areas, but did not meet growth in 8th grade science and math 3. You can see that in red. Note that there was no growth data for 2019-20 or 2021 due to the pandemic. In 22-23, students met or exceeded growth in all content areas. You see both blue and green, an improvement from previous school years. In 23-24, students met growth in 8th grade science, but exceeded in every other content area. Again, an improvement from the previous school year. But in 24-25, on the far right side, Charlotte-Mecklenburg school students exceeded growth. They outpaced achievement of students across the state of North Carolina in every single content area. And while this is remarkable, I want you to hear the index scores by which they outpaced. It's kind of like running a sprint. How fast did you go? How far did you get? They didn't just exceed growth by a little, they exceeded growth by a lot. Quite frankly, numbers I have never seen before in 30 years of education in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. A growth index of a 2 gets you to blue. It means you exceeded growth. But in reading, last year in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, the growth index, remember, a 2 gets you there. The growth index was a 26.6, 13 times the needed growth index. In math, you need a 2. The growth index was a 17.32, over 8 times the needed growth index. And the numbers go on and on. We don't just look in that in the aggregate, we also look at it by student groups. And not only did Charlotte-Mecklenburg school students exceed growth in every subject area, but they also, on the right-hand side, met or exceeded growth with every student group. So growth wasn't just happening with certain groups of students, racial ethnic groups, nor was growth happening with certain specialized service groups like academically gifted or multilingual learners. That blue was happening for every group of students. And when you compare that on the left to the 23-24 school year, you see that that's marked improvement in the way our systems and our services aren't supporting just some kids in some places, but are supporting all kids in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. And we're continuing on that trajectory across all of our schools. In the area of early literacy, which is our goal 1, you see here that the overall trend for student groups has improved across for the last 4 years. And there's also evidence of gaps in student performance decreasing. Gaps decreasing. For example, on the far left, you see in 2022, the gap between the early literacy achievement of Black and white students was 30%. On the far right, shaded in purple, you see that the gap in 2025 is 17%. While that's still not okay, a reduction of 13% shows a trend moving in the right direction and a direction we're going to continue. And in the area of advanced placement exam achievement, as we look at our college and career readiness, last year we had 11,000 students take at least one advanced placement or AP exam, a 2.7% increase over the 23-24 school year, and a figure which totals 22,000 exams taken, a 5-year high in participation. Students scored a 3 or higher on 75% of exams taken, a 9% increase over the 23-24 school year, totaling 16,000 exams, not just taken, but having earned a score of a 3, 4, or 5, which in many colleges and universities earns you college credit. This equates to approximately a total value of $49,000 in college credits and approximately $14.2 million in college tuition savings for students earning college credit in high school. Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools fully understands the foundational role we play in accelerating economic opportunity of students' family in Charlotte. In Charlotte, having the quality of life that we desire. We are so grateful to our Board of Education for their leadership and their relentless, and I mean relentless, focus on student outcomes. I just finished answering all your technical and tactical questions. The email's coming through momentarily. I want to thank our CMS teachers and staff for all their efforts. They are boots on the ground doing the work with students every day. And I would be remiss not to thank our Board of County Commissioners for their support for this work happening. These results, the achievement that has happened for children in Charlotte Mecklenburg schools last year and continues this year, couldn't have happened without thousands, and I mean truly thousands, of people leaning in to this important work. And with that, I turn it over to Chair Sneed for facilitation of questions related to our North Carolina accountability model metrics.
I just have one word, historic.
That's what it is.
I turn over to Commissioner
And we
Terrell.
literally went back and pulled as far as we possibly could, yeah.
You trying to do the mic drop?
She did that at the press release.
Yeah, I remember. Thank you for the presentation. So I know all of my colleagues will have questions or comments. The top of the lineup will look like this. And this round is only for Board of County Commissioners. The next round will be just for the Board of Education. So top of the lineup looks like this: Commissioner Griffin, Commissioner Meyer, Commissioner Leek, then Commissioner YTI.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and certainly congratulations, as I said in an email to your chair and vice chair, with a litany of questions. Your teachers, your counselors, et cetera, did a phenomenal job with respect to the results that you just articulated. However, I am distraught, though. As the county manager had indicated earlier, the Board of County Commissioners has priorities. And I'll just read, education doesn't stand alone. It's aligning our taxpayer investments to improve college and career readiness outcomes for all students. And I'm really distraught that this presentation there's not one phrase that says college and career readiness data that's presented in terms of the performance of your students. So that really bothers me. For us to talk about the high quality of life, the state of North Carolina did a couple of things. Number one, it wrote the learning standards in the North Carolina Standard Course of Study at level 4. And they also created an assessment system that has various levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So anything less than level 4 is not mastery of the learning standards on the North Carolina Standard Course of Study. So to focus, growth is great, but what the sound basic education dictates is that students graduate college ready or career ready. And I think that's what the Board of County Commissioners had as an education priority for the last 4 years that I've been here. So I'm really concerned that we're not talking about college ready and career ready. And the metrics that I look at reflect something entirely different. For example, this board engaged in Read Charlotte about a decade ago because there was a big focus on learning. Time.
Go ahead, finish the thought, please.
Let him finish.
And so we have invested, the county and the community, in terms of making sure kids are college ready and career ready. But the performances that got us excited well over a decade ago in 2015 when we created Read Charlotte and the philanthropic community got engaged with another program, our overall performance on NAEP that was used in 2015, we've gone backwards. So what I'm looking for is a commitment to college ready and career ready, because that's the standard in North Carolina that the Supreme Court ruled about a sound basic education. And we need to get on that track real quickly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
So before you respond, Beth, I will say that there is a commitment by this board and that we have set the goal, our goal 4, that is specifically related to making sure that our students are employed, enrolled, or enlisted upon matriculation, a graduation. So there is a commitment to that. But I will defer to Beth to talk about specifically the NAEP scoring as well as the level 4 and 5.
Sure. I want to talk about grade level proficiency versus college and career readiness, and then I also will address NAEP as well. So when we look at the North Carolina accountability model and what makes up those school performance grades, which is what they set, those first two rows for elementary and middle where it says EOG scores reading and math, that's based on what's called grade level proficiency. And that means a student, in order to count for that, needs to have achieved a level 3, which is proficient, or a level 4 or 5, which is college or career ready. So the bar for our school performance grades that's set by the state, the bar that, that students must hit is a level 3. Our community and our Board of Education, to your point, Commissioner Griffin, said that's not enough. So the goals that our board talks about at every meeting are based on 4 or 5, college or career readiness. The reason I talk today about grade level proficiency is because that's what the North Carolina accountability model is. And quite candidly, sometimes it just gets confusing to people over what we're talking about. This GLP, CCR, we were joking about it in a leadership meeting the other day. It gets confusing. We have to attend to both. We want to attend to both. We need to acknowledge what it looks like and what the state is going to say we need to do to be able to show the impact of our school district. And we are attending to and reporting out consistently on the bar that we've set, our community has set, for college and career readiness. So GLP versus college and career readiness, that would be thing one. The second thing I'll just note as well, related to comparison year over year, is that our state goes through a process every so many years of readjusting standards. They're in the process of doing that for English language arts right now. So you can follow, if you follow the state board meetings, you can see a presentation. I think they just did one in December around where they are in the process of looking at standards. Every time they redo standards, they also renorm the assessment. And so when they do that, the state says the following words. I have them highlighted in pink so that I don't forget them. With newly adopted content standards, new assessments are implemented. Comparison to previous year's assessments are not valid due to the difference in standards, because you're now assessing a different thing with a different norm. That's not to create excuses, but it is to say that when we talk about where we're performing now compared to where we were 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years ago, we also need to talk about whether the standards and the assessments have been renormed within that time period, because if they have, the state saying, don't compare them, it's a different test. And so we have to be acknowledgement of that. Last thing, I'm sorry, I know. Last thing for NAEP. One thing I'll point out around NAEP is that NAEP assesses 4th and 8th grade students. And the purpose of NAEP is because is that it helps us nationally know how we're performing compared to students across the country. Every state creates their own assessment system. So the assessments that students take in North Carolina are not the same assessments in Georgia or Virginia or any other state. NAEP is the only way that I know of that's an entity nationally that urban districts, large urban districts and others participate in, that helps us know how our students are doing across other entities. When our data came back, we do get data every other year. When our data came back around specifically 4th and 8th grade students, it's not telling us all students, it's only telling us a sample. In fact, they just pull a list, they tell us test these children of that sample group of students. While we did go backwards in 8th grade reading, When you look at the bar compared to other large districts nationally, we are second to the right in terms, second highest, right behind San Diego. That's not to say that that's okay, but we're not alone, and the grappling of what we do to continue to improve reading is a national concern that we're participating in. And in fact, we just had data report outs with all of our school performance areas and all of our principals this past week, yesterday and the day before, and we're seeing some really good gains. Sorry, not to let the cat out of the bag, board, but we're seeing some really good gains in reading, especially coming out of the pandemic.
Thank you. Let me move to the next board member, please. Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. I just want to say congratulations, CMS. I love your energy. You clearly are so happy and so proud, and everybody should be in CMS, from teachers and janitors and cafeteria staff and admin and everyone. It's a big congratulations. And I just want to say that investing in our children reaps rewards. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Meyer. Commissioner Leek.
Let me first say thank you for your presentation, but I sit here representing the average citizen. How then do we break this down for clarity to know those schools that are failing, those schools that are passing in our given districts? That's what I'm being asked every day.
All of the,
District 2.
yes, yep.
The low-performing schools.
I'm going to note that so that we can go back and look at and do some more collaboration around what it would look like and like who we want to go see, who wants to know more, and how we can better meet their needs and being able to explain that. Thank you for that.
Commissioner Leek, I just want to do a call out for you to say you have districts that are on that list that killed it.
In good ways.
That's what
In good ways.
That's a good thing.
They're on the,
That's what I wanted to tell me today.
they're in your booklet, but they're teeny tiny. I couldn't find my readers, but they're in your booklet.
When you say teeny tiny, what do you mean?
I mean, the writing is small because there's so
Oh,
many.
the writing is so small.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's so many schools that you can't see it, but Board Member Haynes will show it to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Townsend Ingram.
Show it to me.
I want to say congratulations and thank you too. This is, it is historic. Mic drop moment. You know, we can sit as a public and complain and complain and complain, but then when we see results, I don't think that we tout enough in the news about all of the accomplishments. And in keeping with, you know, the collaborative side of why we're here, the way the city and the county can help, I think, is exposure. Exposing our young people, because there was only about 14, I think, high schools on there. Understanding that, you know, to Commissioner Griffin's point, that these results that we're seeing in the middle, in the elementary and middle school there's gonna be a lag time until we see it in the high school, and I understand that. But in the meantime, I would love it if, you know, the city and the county became the premier place where our students graduated and wanted to work, right? The technology exposed them to those jobs, exposed them to that experience. And, you know, it used to be that government was a safe job. You can get you a job with the government if you didn't want to go to college, and that was safe. That's no longer the case, but we want to be the example. So I want to be able to partner with the school, with CMS, to get that done. And so I just ask how we can fit that into the overall plan to get that done.
Sounds like that is a charge for the Quality of Life Collaborative. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell and Commissioner Dunlap.
Thank you for your presentation, and I agree with Commissioner Meyer. I love your energy and your joy. And like, while things aren't perfect and exactly where you want them to be, I think it's important to celebrate along the way as you get there, because you can't do things you can't do great work if you're dispirited. So this is really good news. And I just keep wondering, you know, I grew up in a school system where there were such high expectations. And I feel like a lot of the progress is coming from all of the staff and the board and the expectations. Like, you know, everyone working together with higher expectations out of a desire for, you know, what is good. Like, I think of my teachers almost every day how they influence me. And, you know, like if
I want to know the feelings.
you take your education everywhere, it's everything. So congratulations, I love your joy, and I love high expectations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dunlap.
Thank you. I'll be honest, I want to ride this high as long as I can. You know, I think all too often what happens is when there's different conversations going on in the community about what to expect as it relates to education. One of the things I took away from what you said was the fact that when the standards change, we look to different outcomes. We look for different stuff. And if we keep going back to what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we'll never really appreciate how far we've gotten. And so I'm ecstatic at the accomplishments. I think everybody that's in any way related to the work that's being done ought to be celebrated. Whether there are other partners along with CMS, everybody ought to be celebrated. And I think we need to really learn to appreciate where we are, especially when you compare that across the state and across the nation. Nobody else is doing it. And so I celebrate that. I look forward to improvement, which clearly has been articulated. We're working to do better. And that's the best you can expect. I think we've come tremendously a long way from the time you guys didn't even have a plan. Now you have a plan, and you're working the plan that you have. Right. And so I can't say any more than congratulations.
Thank you. And if I can just say, tag on to that, other districts nationally have noticed, and now our problem is they all want to come visit. And they're like, we don't care when, we don't care how, we'll pay however much. We should take them up on that. But we want to come see what you're doing because nobody else is doing this.
We definitely
This
should
isn't
take them up on
happening
that.
across the country.
Commissioner Rodriguez-McDowell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, of course, want to celebrate as well, and I'm the first to clap because this is really, really impressive. I do not totally understand these 2 pages that are back to back, and I wish there were page numbers on here, but the one page says 2024-25 district growth overview, and then the next page says early literacy at or above benchmark. And I'm looking at the breakdown, and so I have 2 questions. You know, why did the First Nation kids or the American Indian kids drop so much on the early literacy page? But I don't understand how to marry that up with the other page. And then number 2 is the Hispanic kids are the lowest on the early literacy at or above benchmark, and they've stayed flat. And so I'm just wanting to know from y'all's perspective, does this have anything to do with the national sort of BS, you know, goals that they have of cutting funding to ESL programs and other DEI cuts? Is that, you know, are those kind of BS policies trickling down to CMS, and is that reflected here?
So what I'll say to this is that what you see in these blue, in these dots and in these lines reflects the percent of students in kindergarten, first and second grade who finish the year at or above benchmark. Secondly, with American Indian, that's a smaller group of students for us in Charlotte Mecklenburg schools. And when we have a smaller group of students, let's say it's a student group of 10 students, then if one student less is proficient that year, then it can cause the line to go down, but not actually be as significant in terms of numbers of students. Every student matters. We don't want anyone to go down, but a difference in one student can make a difference in a student group. And last but certainly not least, our Hispanic student group is a group that is not growing at the rate that I would like to see them growing currently, and we are looking at what needs to happen there. This data was from last school year, though.
Okay, so it's before the national BS focus.
This data was from last school year, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's going to be worse.
All right, Commissioner Altman.
She missed something.
Thank you. I had an overwhelming sense of rejoicing also. It's really just amazing. And, you know, obviously, we want to continue to close gaps, but I see huge improvement from 2 years ago that is just really meaningful. So I'm just blown away. Congratulations.
Thank you.
She missed a piece of data.
Go ahead.
Beth, I think you missed, it's not on this chart, but expressing a piece of data is in response to Board Member Rodriguez McDowell in terms of our growth in being the top in the state for the English language learners. It's not on this slide.
Oh, yes. I wanted to do so many, but I had 12 minutes. I had to get it, pare it down. But I do want to note that, thank you for that. I do want to note that one of the metrics that you saw that make up that school performance grade is the English language learners' acquisition of the English language. And Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools, in that 183 slide deck on the website, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools had the highest rate in the state of improvement for our English language learners in acquiring English. What we have to acknowledge is that just because you are learning English doesn't make it easy to then learn biology in English. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so when we have students who are entering our school district as 9th and 10th graders, and they're getting support in learning English, but they're also sitting in a high school biology class, taking a high school biology end of course test, we have to acknowledge what we're asking of children. And that's not an excuse, it's just a reality of what it requires of students when they are not yet proficient in English to also be learning in English all of these subject areas that have incredibly technical language in our schools. And that's going to continue to be a challenge. I want to be very careful about not conflating Hispanic students with English language learners, because all Hispanic students are not English language learners, so that's why I was a little hesitant previously. So I want to be very clear that I don't want to conflate those two things. But we have many Hispanic students who are English language learners, so we want to note that progress that's being made, and we want to note what it takes for students who are learning English and acquiring English. We also want to attend to Hispanic students for whom English isn't a barrier, because that's also a part of knowing students well. And if I may, the other day in our principal data report outs, 185 principals stand up in front of their peers in their school performance areas and say, this is how we're doing, that's what makes the monitoring reports. When they do that, what they're talking about are the systems in their building that help them know where every single child is, what they need next, and what they're doing about it. And so when we talk about student groups and the systems that create that blue, it's because our leaders and our teachers aren't looking holistically, they aren't going after some students and not after another, they're looking at all of our students.
All right, before my comments, let me turn back to Commissioner Dunlap, and then I'll come back to me and wrap up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a moment to put everybody on notice. Given the disruption that we had in our community, we can anticipate that things will be different next year when you consider how many students didn't go to school. And I just wanted to put us on notice.
Thank you for that. A couple of things I want to say. I do want to say congratulations. So I talk to the chair on a daily basis, a couple times a day, and during those times, she drops the mic every single time, and rightfully so. And I remember a few years ago, as the boards were collaborating with the community, we were not at this place. So a couple of observations. One, I think it's apparent that leadership makes a difference. Direction and a plan makes a difference. I want to do a couple of shout outs because I do think it's important. Commissioner Leak, some years ago, led a charge for accountability. And it started the ball rolling, which was a very difficult discussion between the boards. It was extremely difficult, and it was an extremely difficult discussion for the community. But that discussion notwithstanding, that charge notwithstanding, I'm not so sure we're at this place today. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. But I think we're better for it because that charge was led. Also, Chair Sneed was chair of the Black Political Caucus during that time. They were extremely instrumental in backing a plan of accountability and a plan, and her leadership was instrumental, along with community organizations such as the Faith Alliance and other community organizations that came together. Dr. Witherspoon Brown was part of that organization as well, leading the charge from the community. And our board at the time was led by Commissioner Dunlap, who helped us navigate a very sensitive time to get to where we are today from a Board of County Commissioner standpoint. Commissioner Powell was on the board at the time, Altman, Meyer, Commissioner Rodriguez, McDowell. We were all a part of the board at that time. Commissioner Griffin was part of the community as well, leading the charge, lending his intellectual capital to help us navigate. And while we didn't all see eye to eye on everything, again, I would be remiss if I did not shout out what this community did, the way the community stepped up, and the leadership. So I want to say kudos to everyone and the board members that were a part of the school board. I want to shout you all out, board membership. You were there, right? Rankin, right? All of you guys were there. And so this is a collaboration and a partnership, and what you've demonstrated today is how far we can go. And we can meet the standards that Commissioner Griffin always talks about, that I know Superintendent Hill demands, and Chair Sneed's expectations as well. So kudos to your entire team, entire staff, and thank you to county staff who also leaned in. So thank you for the presentation. Mr. Manager, I think you're going to tee up the next presentation.
Next on the agenda is a presentation by our Office of Management and Budget Director, Adrian Cox. He's going to share some preliminary estimates with you. And keep in mind, County Commission, you're scheduled to have your retreat at the end of this month, and at that time, he'll present more refined numbers. But for purposes of discussion today, he's going to give you some insight based on trends over the last few years of what growth may look like as I prepare my recommended budget for next fiscal year. Adrian?
All right, thank you so much, County Manager Bryant. Good afternoon, Chair Jarrell, Chair Sneed, and members of both bodies. As Manager mentioned, today I'm going to provide a brief update about our budget landscape for fiscal year 2027. This presentation will include information about historical revenue trends and some potential cost drivers that are on the horizon for next year. But as the Manager mentioned, the presentation will not include formal estimates for 2027. Those are still under development, and those preliminary estimates will be shared with the board at the retreat at the end of this month. The county has about 100 different revenues, and they span over 640 different account lines, as well as many more expenses. These two charts on this slide summarize the $2.5 billion operating budget into broad categories. Property tax makes up 60% of our total revenue, followed by sales tax at 20%, and that includes sales tax that is dedicated to school construction and pass-through transit sales tax. Charges for services and other revenues consist of several different revenues which help to offset the cost for county services. We receive 4.3% of the budget in federal funding, largely for administering federal benefit programs. Funding from the state makes up less than 2% of the county's budget, and there's a small amount of fund balance that's allocated this year for some one-time cost. In terms of expenses, funding to CMS operating is the largest expense in our budget, making up 26% of total expenses. Salary and benefits are the next largest expense category, and this is just the general fund salaries, and it makes up 25% of the total budget. Debt service and pay-go, including the debt for schools, makes up 19% of the budget, everything else that makes up our general fund budget, so contracts, commodities, transfers, minor capital for vehicles, equipment, as well as payments to other partners, all make up 18% of the budget. And then there's 12% of the budget that consists of special revenue or enterprise funds. Those are balanced funds with specific revenue sources for specific purposes, and they operate separate from our general fund. So we have a property tax rate of 49.27 cents for every $100 of property value. This slide shows the net property tax impact of three major areas of county funding. CMS operating accounts for 22.12 cents. County operating and funding to other partners, 15.58 cents. And funding for capital, including the funding for schools through our debt service fund, accounts for 11.57. Property tax, again, makes up 60% of our revenue. Average growth, excluding rate increases, has been around $33 million a year, or 2.9%. This chart, our property tax, makes up the largest portion of our county dollars. And county dollars represent the county's discretionary revenues, and they also include undesignated sales tax and a few other revenues. The chart here shows the total general fund county dollars since 2017. This year, excluding the impact of fund balance allocations and tax rate increases, our county dollar revenue grew by $55.7 million, or 3.8%. Over the last 10 years, the growth in county dollars has averaged 3.3% when you exclude tax rate increases and other outlier events. So as we mentioned at the beginning, preliminary estimates are still under development. This is a conceptual budget outlook based upon average revenue growth and some expense assumptions. County dollar revenue growth of 3% would result in $46.5 million. At the high end, growth of 4% would result in $62 million of new revenue. If we fund CMS operating at the same percentage as we did last year, or 4.4%, that would cost a little over $29 million. Increasing salaries for county staff at the same percentage as last year of 5.5% through across the board or merit pay increases would cost $28.3 million. Just to baseline the existing county salaries and benefits, that is without any salary increases, would be $15.6 million based on our working benefit estimates that we have at this time for medical and retirement. We already know that based on some changes approved at the federal level, that the amount of money that we receive to administer food stamp benefits will decrease from the current level of 50% of our expenses to 25% beginning October 2026. This particular change will have a draw of $7.8 million on available county dollars. If we fund CPCC at the same percentage as last year, which was 3.6%, it would cost $1.8 million. So factoring just these budget impacts alone, along with our average revenue, the budget gap would be between $36.3 million or $20.8 million. I do want to point out that based upon our average growth, the county would not be able to fund the top three expenses that are highlighted here in purple: funding to CMS, county salaries and all three of these at the same level as we did last year. And this does not include any department needs. But I also want to emphasize that this is just a conceptual outlook to give you a sense of the budget landscape for next year. The revenue may be less than 3%, or it could be more, and it certainly does not include all the expenses that we will face. Here are some other potential costs that are on the horizon that may have a role in the upcoming budget. We are currently anticipating 6 months of operating costs for a new main library that's going to come online. There are some other CIP projects that may come online in the upcoming year. The county is building a facility-based crisis center, and Alliance is expected to operate that center next year. We expect other contractual increases for maintenance, security, technology, utilities, and the like. And next year, we will be temporarily relocating staff to make upgrades to the Wilson Center. We have a growing jail population, and there are likely to be other impacts from Irina's law. As well as you all know, there could be other impacts from federal budget decisions that we don't yet realize. And also, as you know, MEDIC is conducting an emergency response study, which may have recommendations requiring county funding. These are just a few of the potential cost drivers for next year, and there could be more that emerge over the next few months. So this has been mentioned a couple times this evening, and I know the Board of Commissioners are all very familiar with the information on this slide, which is showing the funding in our budget for expenses that the county has taken on for which the state has not fully funded. The total in this year's budget is $484 million, which is equivalent to a little over 16 cents in property tax rate. And it brings the cumulative total since 2020 to almost $3 billion. The total ongoing operating funding provided to CMS by the county has increased an average of 5.3% annually over the last 10 years. And this funding equates to almost 45% of total property tax and has been so steadily looking back since 2021. For some background, here are the property tax rates since 2007. The county has raised taxes in the last 3 years. In 2024, the county raised the tax rate over the neutral rate by 1.6 cents, 1 cent to support capital, and 6 cents or 0.6 cents for growing expenses in the general fund. In 2025, the increase was 1 cent based upon our capital model. And last year, a little less than 1 cent increase supported general expenses. Here's a summary of how future taxes will impact the typical household. Our current median assessed value for residential property is $377,300. At our current county tax rate, that equates to $1,859 in county taxes that they pay annually, or $37.73 for every penny on our tax rate. Our capital model is based on debt and capital expenses that we anticipate will require a 2-cent rate increase in fiscal year 2028 and another 1 cent in fiscal year 2029. Also, as you know, a new 1 cent transit sales tax will be levied beginning July 1. I've modeled the typical expenses for a family with an income of $122,000, which is very close to the median income for owner-occupied households in our county. I applied some assumptions regarding food and retail purchases using the MIT livable wage calculator as a basis for the cost makeup. In this scenario, we could assume the new tax rate will apply to $21,855 in taxable sales. And it will result in an increase of $218 a year. On the right, you can see the combined impact of the sales tax and the property taxes on this typical household. The new sales tax combined with property tax rate increases that are in the pipeline for the county for fiscal year 28 and 29 will equal $331.19 as a tax increase. Please note also that this is just one scenario, and the results would fluctuate greatly depending on the actual expenses for the household. As I wrap up, I did want to share the key dates in the county's budget process. After today's meeting, we will have our first public hearing at the Board of Commissioners meeting on the 21st. The board retreat is currently scheduled for the 28th through the 30th. And at that time, our CFO will go over our financial outlook in detail. From February through April, we'll be working with all of our departments and our partners to review budgets for next year. The superintendent is scheduled to present CMS's request to the Board of Commissioners on May 6th. Central Piedmont and the courts are scheduled for the 12th. On May 14th, the county manager will present his recommended budget for fiscal year 2027. The board will receive a detailed overview on the 20th. The public hearing then is scheduled for the 21st, and the Board of Commissioners is scheduled for straw votes on the 28th of May. And we are targeting the meeting of June 2nd for adoption of the budget. And with that, that concludes my presentation, and I'll try to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, board members. This is your opportunity to ask questions of our county partners. Dr. Witherspoon.
My question is more technical. How should we submit questions for
later?
For later, yeah.
Submit it to Stacy.
Stacy, this should.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask mine.
Well, I'll kick it off. I'm gonna just ask my series of questions. I know that on this presentation, you presented the CMS operating funds and how it's increased over time, but I didn't see any indication of what the county's operating funds and how they've increased or decreased over time. I'm also wondering, how do you determine where your discretionary funds go? And then I'm also looking at, and as a second part of that question is, I know that you have opportunities for, I think it's community funding from community organizations and nonprofits. And I'm wondering if there is opportunities, and with that, I'm wondering if there are opportunities for coordination, meaning that there are times that you are funding community grants that they are then in CMS schools. They come to CMS schools saying they have money for particular items. I'm wondering if there is a way to coordinate to see if that is an actual need of CMS before that funding is granted. The second thing, in the terms of coordination on reducing, I'm wondering if there's an opportunity again to, if there are duplication of services in the sense of, can there be some shared services models that would reduce cost? And also, and what makes me think about that is MEC pre-K. Is it costing us more to have two systems of pre-K as opposed to it just being housed in CMS?
All right, let me see if I can go back through some of those. So we do have a balanced budget, so our budget has grown every year. I don't recall off the top of my head exactly what the percentage is, but it grows. Some of that growth is due to natural growth that occurs when new construction happens, and some of it occurs when there are tax rate increases. But a lot of that, again, is driven also by the expenses and the needs of the county. So you ask about discretionary funds and how do we decide where discretionary funds go. And they're discretionary, so they go really to the most important needs of the county, whether that is based upon board priorities or whether or not when we have expenses come up that we just have to fund, like some of those things I listed about that are on the horizon. So each year it's just going to be different. But there were some other questions.
The other questions were, it's really around the spirit of reducing costs, that we are not duplicating services. One was when you make the determination of funding to community organizations, and it's in the space of it could be in the space of education, can there be an opportunity to see if there's an actual need? Meaning that sometimes people show up at our door and say, hey, we have this money, we want to execute this program. That has not been vetted through CMS. The second one is MEC pre-K. Has there been an analysis or opportunity to determine if, are we essentially, can we save money by being housed in one place as opposed to two different entities?
I love both of those questions because you're asking about how can we do things better and save money. And I certainly think there may be some opportunity for us to look closely at our process with nonprofits to make sure that we're not doing things the wrong way or looking at them the wrong way. And I think that is potential there. In terms of MEC pre-K, we do know that we are funding some additional funds to MEC pre-K because the salaries aren't, keeping up. And so we do have a little bit of that. That's part of what's listed on the stuff that the state is not doing. But in terms of your bigger question around whether there's opportunity or would it be cheaper if we had one program, I don't not know if that analysis has been done, so I think it's too early for me to say anything about that.
Thank you. Board Member Haynes?
Something that perked my interest, on the conceptual budget outlook, what was the purpose of presenting that to us? Because, and although it says it's not an official budget estimate, it shows our same percent of funding to CMS, and then at the bottom, it shows a budget gap. That makes me believe maybe somebody is trying to lower our expectations in terms of our request coming, to let us know about this gaping gap, and I'm a little concerned about that, to be honest with you.
So I appreciate the question. The reason we're sharing with you a conceptual budget is because we're really early in the process, and it's too early to give you official numbers. A lot of the revenue that the county receives, we receive it from last week up until this week. Really, it's January, some in February. So we are really early in the process. That said, in terms of the revenue, I do not see anything necessary that comes to mind that gives me a sense that it's going to be much different than what I have seen in the past. And that's just at this point in time. But I would urge caution because it is still very early.
And Board Member Haynes, to hitch a ride to Adrian's response, it's not to lower any expectations. Instead, it is to present the reality that we have to sort through. Also, in this slide deck, he presented to you that $484 million that we have to fund because the state is not stepping up to the plate. And on the average of 3 to 4% in revenue growth, it does not keep pace with the demand. And that's just the reality. So we have to have the tough conversations about MEC Pre-K and some of the other investments that the county has made over the years. So it's not to lower your expectations, but it's you to have some insight as you work with your superintendent to approve your budget, and as I do the same, to present mine to my board as well.
All right, Board Member Monterey Duval, followed by Board Member Shipp.
I'm so grateful for the county commission for being so pro-public education and funding us every single year. I am worried about the federal cuts that could be happening and the impact it'll have that I think inevitably will fall on us. And so while we're seeking that additional $114 million, we have $110 million that are on the line. And I'm sure Chief Klutz will elaborate on that. But I just want to know your general thoughts on that. And then, you know, I'm going to ask something that my constituents always ask me. I'm so sorry. Please do not get mad at me. There's this perception that we spend more on parks than education. Can you elaborate on that? I'm not saying I agree or don't agree. It's just I hear that narrative all the time. I don't agree with it at all, but I would love to get your rebuttal on that. Thank you, if that's in your scope.
Sure. So Park and Rec budget is about $70 million in operating, and CMS's budget is the $666.1 million in operating. So, no, we don't spend more on parks. And your question about the federal funding, so that is something that we're watching because we also share some concerns about that because a lot of federal funding is used to provide benefits to county residents. Federal government is in a unique position to be able to provide those benefits because of the ability to levy an income tax. And as I painted for you all, you have property tax, which is really the only lever that the board has, and you can see what the impact is.
And in addition to that, that's why we felt it was also important to share with you a multi-year look that highlights tax rate increases as well. As he mentioned, on July 1, you have that 1 cent sales tax that go into effect. Also, the voters approved through the bond referendum a tax rate increase as well. So it's important that we not only factor the federal government and their funding level, but also some of the tax rate increase commitments that have already been made. So we have to factor all of that, not to mention that the county's budget for FY26 includes a tax rate increase also. So we have to factor all of that in the equation as we prepare our budgets and think about affordability to the residents of this community.
All right, Board Member Shipp.
Yes, this has already kind of been hit on with MEC Pre-K and then the Bright Beginnings Pre-K program we have in Charlotte Mecklenburg schools. I had a conversation with a parent, and one of the things that I thought was interesting was saying, what are the very differences, trying to decide whether my child will be in Bright Beginnings Pre-K or MEC Pre-K? What really makes those two stand out, and which program to go to? So I think when we talk about funding, there is that question, is MEC Pre-K quite in the line with the Bright Beginnings? Do they offer more daycare, meet those daycare laws compared to our Bright Beginnings where our kids can't stay in an after-school program right there on the site?
Yeah, so I'm not the expert on those programs. I do know that MEC Pre-K and NC Pre-K and Bright Beginnings may have different eligibility requirements.
Yeah, and I thought that may not be a question that's right here, but I think it's one we have to begin to think about when we talk about the funding and how we can maybe collaborate those, or collapse those two programs into one. Thank you.
Vice Chair Rankin.
If you could, it's the slide, I think this says 10, where it's referring to planned future tax rate increases for debt, where it says once, in 2028 and 2029. I just want to be clear, the 1 cent possible increases there are those for bond debts? Is that what that's for?
That's correct. So in 28, there's 2 cents, and this is to pay for our bond, and 1 cent of that is for CMS as part of our model. And in 29, there's another 1 cent, and all of that is for the CMS projects.
Okay, thank you. Just for clarity, projects that have already been voted on?
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, and thank you for helping us get to fully funded with your calculations for the past 3 years. Kelly Klutz.
All right, as we begin preparing for our fiscal 26-27 budget, on the school side, just as we were just talking about on the county side, this joint conversation is timed very well. So our vision today that you heard about for student success and excellence has to be translated into a financial plan that is sustainable. We talked about being sustainable over time. So my role here today is to connect that vision of performance to the budget that we're developing as we go. So that context this year needs to start with enrollment, because enrollment drives funding, and funding drives staffing, and those program decisions that follow. So before we start talking about cost or investments, it's important to understand what the data tells us about enrollment, where it's been, and where it's headed. So digging into enrollment, we rely on multiple independent demographic studies to tell us what we can expect. Those studies show us that enrollment began declining in the early 2020s. It's projected to reach the low in the mid-decade. So I'll read that again. So it's projected to reach the low point mid-decade. We're in mid-decade, and we are at our low point based on projections. But it recovers toward the end of the decade. So actually, the projection says that we will recover more than double of what we lose. And you can see those estimates up top. So we're estimating that we're decreasing about 4,500 students by mid-decade, and we're estimating that we're increasing 9,400 students by late decade. Okay, so recovering all those. So these trends were predicted more than a year ago, so this decline is not a surprise to us. But you may be asking the question, why? And the short answer is that it's not about performance or policy, it's about demographics. A stable student population requires a birth rate of 2.1 children per female. We are currently, the rate today is 1.63, which means fewer students are coming into the school system in North Carolina. One simple way to think about it is like a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. Students are graduating out faster than they're coming back in. That's right now. So as families are still moving into our district, just not as fast as they're graduating out. The demographic study tells us that this is a temporary decline, and as housing turns over and more families move into the district, enrollment will stabilize and increase by the end of the decade. So that timing, the enrollment, is important as we talk about our budget in the school district. This slide provides a historical look at where we are today in terms of enrollment. Our current average daily membership, sometimes called ADM, is 139,476, which is down 2,418 students from last year. That's a decline of 1.7%. For context, the state average decline is 1.76. So CMS is very much in line with statewide trends. Across 115 school districts, total enrollment declined by 24,000 students, declined in North Carolina. Only 9 districts of the 115 had any growth, and those increases were very modest, a combined total of 274 students across those 9 districts. The takeaway is that what we are experiencing is a part of a broader demographic shift across the state, not something unique to CMS. The context is important as we start talking about enrollment trends, how enrollment trends translate into budget and funding decisions. Okay. So let's talk about where we stand now. Our financial position is stable, but we're cautious, of course. We know funding uncertainty is ahead, and so we're planning now to protect the classroom and maintain momentum. We focus on efficiency and clear priorities to ensure that every dollar drives the greatest benefit to our students. It's important to understand what we control and what we do not. The state provides about 56% of our funding and is obligated by general statute to deliver a sound basic education. That means the basics. Most state formulas are enrollment-based. When enrollment goes up, funding goes up. When enrollment goes down, funding goes down. We don't negotiate those dollars. They are governed by statute and the allotment policy manual. We have built-in safeguards in our system like the allotment process and leveling, to ensure that we are not overspending. Federal funds are supplemental with very specific rules. That makes up about 6% of our budget. We rarely discuss state and federal dollars in our budget development unless they are cuts, because the allocation is largely non-discretionary. Local funds is our lever. That represents 34% of our budget. This is the place where boards in our community have influence and choice. This is what elevates students beyond a basic education that was required by law. So our safe facilities, our competitive compensation, our expanded opportunities, and those supports that accelerate learning. Simply put, if we want to be great, we must use our local funds to the fullest extent to get us there. Mecklenburg County has demonstrated a desire to be great, and the results speak for themselves. You can see similar examples, as we mentioned before, in places like Chapel Hill, Carborough, where high local investment has produced high return of student outcomes. This is about community's choice and the board's control over the bottom line. We're also clear about the tension point. We want to be great even when funding is tight. The answer is not to pile more on the county or the taxpayer. It's to do what strong organizations do during these times. They evaluate, they reallocate, and they recycle. Our largest expenses positions, so we look very carefully at how to sustain excellence without adding any unnecessary cost. So now that we've grounded ourselves in enrollment and funding, let's take a look at the budget landscape as we begin to build it. So these are very similar to what the county introduced. These are very early, high-level estimates, but they highlight the core drivers that we need to plan for, so including salary adjustments, technology refresh cycles, and other baseline costs that are required to operate a system of our size. This isn't about expansion. It's about maintaining the conditions that allowed this year's or last year's strong performance to happen. So planning ahead allows us to make deliberate choices, deliberate decisions, and avoid disruption. And that stability is what keeps classrooms strong. As we move forward, our message is clear. We choose great. We choose to align our resources to strategy, to sustain momentum, and to prepare for the innovation phase of our work. This is not just a budget, it's the next step in advancing organizational excellence and delivering on the community's expectation for a district where excellence is not a moment, but the standard. Every decision we make reflects our commitment to keep moving forward, to protect what matters, and to ensure that students have access to the opportunities they deserve. Everything that I've shared here today is about the operating budget side of the work. And so what you'll hear next is how we're applying the same long-term discipline to our capital structure through the building and maintenance of our schools using those voter-approved bond proceeds. And I'll turn it over to Chief Ivey.
Thank you, Chief Klutz. All right, as a reminder, the 23 bond referendum includes 30 projects that affect 35 sites in the school district. Please note that there's one project that was approved that is not a school, and that is the design of the West Regional Athletic Facility. So these are the projects that make up the $2.5 billion escalated bond referendum. We've also provided those for you, broken down by district, in your handouts. Next, I want to point out that this is a dashboard of the 2023 bond. The bond dashboard provides complete insight into the financials, completion schedule, and location of the bond projects. It, along with a complete list of all the projects, can be found at CMSbondconstruction.com. Before we look further into the 2023 bond, I would like to review the items that are considered before selecting a project order. These include available cash flow with capital funding, school capacity, condition of current school facilities, logistics surrounding construction, and being good stewards of the bond. Our project timeline is also supported by the adoption of the annual capital ordinance. So this is a list of the projected completion timelines for bond projects approved with the 2025 and the 2026 annual capital ordinance. As you can see, we have already completed construction on Sedgefield Montessori and have 5 schools on target for completion in August of 2026. These include First Ward Creative Arts Middle School, Marie G. Davis Montessori, New Middle School No. 1 South, Northwest School of the Arts, and the new elementary school on Park Road. Specific updates for each of the bond projects opening in August of 2026, as well as details on all the bond projects, can be found on the bond website. Next, I'd like to highlight the list of bond projects in reference to project status. We have 6 projects in the design phase, 10 that are in the construction phase, and the remaining projects are in line to be started as soon as more projects are completed. And lastly, I just want to remind you that the website, CMSbondconstruction.com, has all bond updates. It includes the dashboards, live construction cams, and reports. And we also want to encourage you to use the QR code here to follow us on social media and help us to promote the good work that is being done with the bond. And we appreciate your partnership in this project.
Thank you. This round is for the Board of County Commissioners. Lineup, first top of the lineup will be Commissioner Powell, Rodriguez, McDowell, Meyer, then YTI.
Thank you. I don't really have any questions. Last night I was thinking about something totally different, and I was reading about Dr. Ophelia Garman-Brown, if anyone remembers her. Yes. Of course. I worked with her in the 90s, 80s and 90s. And so it's related. It's related to what I'm going to say. Public health, everything about the health of our community matters. Education matters. It's all connected. And I'm glad that it was brought up about the parks, because I've heard that dialogue before. And it's a very unhealthy narrative when somebody tries to get the county to pit one thing against the other, because it all matters. And so we are responsible for so many things. And discretionary, the word discretionary is, in my opinion, the wrong word for, you know, what people think that we can take away. Because if you look at our discretionary, it is essential to quality of life. And so I wish that parks were funded 1/6 of what schools are funded, because parks are underfunded. And there are many park employees that aren't even close to a living wage. And so, like, we have to think of them as well. They are community builders. And so I just want everyone to have that in their minds, that we're in this really bad situation that could be a lot better if the state would just do what they were responsible for. And I think, you know, the fact that we are the economic engine of the state, and that we're, you know, so completely disrespected in this regard. Like, if we're in pain, if we don't succeed, it hurts the state. And, you know, I don't know what people are thinking when they're voting, because, anyway, thank you very much.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Oh, my gosh, how do you follow that? That's so perfect. Okay, I have 3 questions. First of all, the enrollment numbers, I'm assuming, you know, these projections were pre-ICE and the impacts of the BS national narrative. And so I'm just wondering if you all have other projections, or are you working on projections about how that's going to affect everything? My second question is, on the enrollment trends, let's see, the next page, does this, where it says the the state average is 1.76, does that include like charter schools and private schools and everything? And is that impacted by, you know, the voucher BS? Is that, you know, affecting the numbers? How does that affect the numbers? And then thirdly, I just wanted to ask about on the next page where it talks about the federal operating funds being supplemental. I'm not sure if I'm reading that correctly, because I thought that federal funds were like Title I, and, you know, that's not supplemental. I think of supplemental as being like added or extra, but those are essential, right? So maybe I'm just not getting the terminology.
So the enrollment, this number is pre all of that went on, because we're measured in the better of the first or second month. And so this picture was taken right before that happened. The good news about how we're funding in school systems is that, yes, that did impact us. We saw some decline in enrollment, but we're only measured on the better of the first or second month. for a year. So next year, we already know our funding is going to be on that number, on this number. So we have some time to recover from the impact that it had on us. So as long as we recover by August and September of this coming year, it may not have a negative impact on us.
Okay.
So that's that one. For the charter, the reduction of 1.76 at the state level, this is public education. So this includes public charters and public regular K-12 education. So it is public. The number for private is not in here, and the number for charter, homeschool is not in here. So if the public dollars go into, public schools, the charters and us is represented in this number, 1.76, the 26,000.
But are they correlated? Are those numbers, do they interact?
Very difficult for us to get homeschool numbers and private numbers. And so I've reached out, I've tried to get some of those. I've not been very successful yet.
Okay.
It's just hard.
Okay.
Could I add, when we look across all of the public districts in North Carolina, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were only 7 that increased in enrollment this year. Out of 115, there were 2 that stayed the very same. Every other district in North Carolina decreased, if that helps address.
It does, thank you. And
Thank you. Commissioner, we got to move on to.
No, she's got my third question about the federal funds.
Okay. Thank you.
So the
Sorry.
question is related to federal, and your understanding is Title I is in that. You are correct. Title I is one of the largest portions of our federal funds, being Title I and EC. However, they are considered supplemental because it is the expectation for the state to provide a sound basic education. And what the federal does is on top of the state's basic education. So Title I, we believe, very similar to what we were saying earlier, is that we don't believe that Title I is supplemental or discretionary at all. But the foundation of the funding and the funding formula and the way that the state provides or is responsible to provide the sound basic education, these are deemed supplemental.
Wow, thank you.
Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you. 1, thank you for the bond update. I love that. And then 2, with enrollment going down, but we're exceeding the goals, is there something there? Is there a correlation there? Is there a relationship?
Ask your question again.
With enrollment going down, having gone down, but the goals are being exceeded and met, is there any kind of relationship there?
If you're a student to deal with.
I would not think so. And I'm looking at Beth.
There is not. The performance of schools or students is based on the number of students, a percentage of the number of students.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Townsend Ingram.
Thank you so much for the presentation. So I just have two questions. And this is both for my edification and the public. So the state has no budget right now. They have not issued a budget. So how does that impact? Do you guys get anything that they have? How do you still continue to operate without those funds? Is it all us putting it in so that you can continue to operate? And number 2, is there a correlation between the performance of the schools and them getting a new school or them getting upgrades? Because what comes to mind for me is West Charlotte High School and how just excellent they have done since they have gotten the new school. So is that considered in the timeline of completion? Is that figured into the formula at all, or the correlation?
So I'll start with the state budget question, and I'll defer to Beth on your other question. So for the state budget, there is no adopted budget. However, there is a continuing budget resolution. So there's a continuing budget in place that allows us to have a baseline that we've had in the previous year with some minor adjustments called the mini bills. So we're operating as normal It's just we're not operating with any increased cost of living, any pay increases for our staff, any of that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
For the second question, there is broader research in education that the quality of the building positively impacts student achievement. We have not done that depth of research specifically in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools.
All right. Next order will be Commissioner Dunlap, Leak, and Griffin.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I'll just say this. There is always someone in our community who would like to pit the county against the school board. Always. But what I'm going to say, I hope some of you will have a greater appreciation for what the county does. And I want somebody to tell me that I'm wrong with this statement that I make. When student enrollment goes up, the budget request goes up to accommodate the students. But when student enrollment goes down, the budget goes where? Up. Just, I mean, think about that for a minute. It doesn't matter. The budget is always going up. So I hope that will help you with your appreciation for what the county has to do.
Thank you. Commissioner Leak.
Let me first say thank you for this meeting that we've had today. I've been here since 12:30, waiting for this meeting to take place, and I'm grateful to this to have come about. And as we look at the city, our county manager, and our superintendent, they have come to us as a body working together, hand in hand. Rodriguez, when we first met, we fought like two mothers would fight for their children to read, write, and do arithmetic. And now we love each other because we're working for the same cause, as we did before. We didn't fall out, we fell in, okay? So I want to say to this body and this community that we are here to make sure that our children get the very best education that they can get, regardless to where they come from or where they go. We're living in a time right now where we're killing each other physically. The nation is at each other. So how do we celebrate Christmas 12 months and not fight each other? Sitting on this board, people not speaking to each other before. Don't talk to the school board. Don't talk to the county. And that was a part of the agenda, to divide and separate us. But I pray that we've come together and that our coming together will bring about a better community. And regardless of what you think of me, it doesn't even matter what you think of me. But think about the future, 10 years from today. What will the record say that we've done right for our babies who are being born now? I just needed to say that into our chairperson of the county commissioner. Stand up, son. I come from the old school. And from the old school, you honor those who have done well. We would say in the classroom, stand up, son, stand up, daughter. You've done an excellent job. You came in and you set it up where it was right when it was wrong, when some of us were not even allowed to participate. But thank God for you. And our children will get a good education. Remember, the name is L-E-A-K-E. So don't think about me stopping a leak.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Guess we know who's in charge here.
So move to adjourn.
The chair, neither chair will recognize that motion right now. But thank you, Commissioner. Let me go to Commissioner Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your presentation. Certainly giving respect to birth rates happening, around the country and impacting here. But is there a way of trying to determine, it's an estimate at best, your market share in terms of what that trend looks like? I know you not compete, but you're in a space where there's private home schools, charter schools, and all of that stuff. But it'd be interesting to know what your experience of the last several years in terms of market share. I don't know what the state's requirements or what their abilities are, but they do keep up with private school numbers. But, you know, there's a database out there that you can kind of get a guesstimate and then kind of look at what your share is. I'd like to know what that is at some point in the future.
Yes, sir. We've been working on a guesstimate at best. We've really started researching that data, and we've also reached out to some partners to help us gather that data, because we remember a time several years ago when that data did come to us. It's very difficult to get a number for homeschools. Private's a little bit easier, but homeschools are very different. And so anyway, the answer is yes, sir, we're trying.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Griffin. And before I go, I do want to defer some of my time. I think Commissioner Rodriguez-McDowell, you had another line that you were trying to go down with your question, so I want to defer some time to you.
I wanted to just reiterate the ICE thing about the impact that it would have on the numbers, that since they were thinking about it before those impacts, and it looks like those impacts are going to continue as long as we have the BS that we have right now. I just wanted to say that.
Okay, thank you for that. And thank you both for the presentation. Great information. We appreciate it.
So that concludes our presentations this evening of the Better Together joint CMBOE and BOCC. The highlight was Susan Rodriguez-McDowell forming a heart with her hands to Commissioner Lee. That's not representation of Better Together. I don't know what is. But I always appreciate the collaboration and the iterations of these boards that work in the spirit of collaborations. So one of the things that we have been discussing is how can we further these efforts? And I think that is a fiscal effort. So we all have pretty much the same priorities of what's important because we reach out to the same community. We're a part of the same community. So how can we come together better fiscally, I believe, is the next iteration. In order for us to be able to do that, we have to have intentional conversations about and be open with our information with each other, which I am confident that under County Manager Bryant and Dr. Hill as superintendent that will happen. My desire, I'll speak for me personally, is that at some point we have a joint retreat that's overlapping days. I know that typically our retreats are at the same time. The counties is usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We usually do Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So hopefully maybe next year, the Thursday is a joint day so that we can really kind of dig into issues and have a meaningful conversation on how do we move our county forward in a fiscal way in supporting the same interest.
Thank you for that. Let me just start off by a couple of thank yous. One, the production team, as always, thank you so much for what you all do. Let's give it up for them, please. I want to start out with Dr. Hill and Manager Bryant. You all have charted a new course for all of us through your leadership, and everyone around this day is certainly appreciative of the efforts that you all are making, the collaboration. We, as electeds, are constantly in communication, constantly speaking to one another. And it is exactly, I know everybody around this dais, and it's exactly why we ran for office, because we felt like we wanted this type of collaboration to move the county forward. And so we certainly have that, and you all are reflecting exactly where we'd like to go. To both staffs, thank you all. You all do the heavy lifting. We get to ideate, and you all do the heavy lifting, and that is not lost on us at any moment. And finally, to my colleagues, I want to start with Chair Snead. Thank you for your strong leadership, your friendship, and your intellectual capacity that continues to move us forward. And we can't do this work as chairs without our vice chairs who are lockstep with us, not having any daylight between us and helping us navigate through very difficult times. So with that, and to all of our colleagues, thank you for your continued efforts and collaboration. This is just a start. It's a new day once again, and we'll continue to move forward. And at this time, I will declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.